Hey there Internet, and welcome to Protonic Reviews. This will be a series where I, Cameron of ProtonicFilms, will review games from my past and present, and give my opinions on the future. For my first review, I decided on covering the recently re-released Pegasus Prime by Presto Studios. What is Pegasus Prime, you may ask? Well, when I was a kid, I didn't play games on PlayStation or Xbox, but instead on an Apple PowerPC 7600-200 with macOS 9 installed. One of my favourite games on the system was entitled The Journeyman Project, a type of point-and-click adventure game with elements of time travel. For about a year of my life, this was the best experience I'd had on the machine, aside from a few other titles that had distracted me from learning the secrets of this intriguing game. The fateful day came when my dad handed me the sequel, Buried in Time. This game was clearly a step up in graphics, music, atmosphere. Everything was better, and the puzzles were new. However, what interested me the most at first was an included trailer for the Journeyman Project Director's Cut. Upon watching the clip, I just had to see it several more times to comprehend the amount of awesome within. The first title, reworked with the same graphic engine as the second installment? I was in! But guess what? The game was only sold in very limited quantities for macOS and the Apple Pippin. That left me in the unfortunate situation of not being able to play that game during my childhood. But hope returned, when in 2013 I discovered that Presto, or some subsidiary, were re-releasing a new version of what was now known as Pegasus Prime, a remake of a remake. The other two titles, including Legacy of Time, were made available online as well, months before Pegasus Prime arrived. The child within almost cried for joy, and I swear I've never been so quick to make an online purchase. Luckily, the two I already owned for Mac worked just fine on PC. The main attraction was now ready to install at this point. The title screen really sets the mood, but perhaps it's just nostalgia on my part. It begins with an interesting take on a post-apocalyptic story of sorts, where war had prompted humanity to begin peacemaking across the planet. With this came innovations in electronics, floating cities, and time travel. The story puts us in the shoes of Gage Blackwood, Agent 5 of the Temporal Protectorate, who has just woken up from a rest in his chair, apparently giving the AI unit that's up close to your eye a reason to run self-checks.
Is fully operational.
After the tutorial is done, the easy-to-learn controls will help guide you around your apartment and to pick up your card ring. What I wouldn't give for something as cool as that. And before you know it, you're being teleported away to the secret location of the Temporal Security Agency. From here, the game hits the main conflict, being that you must travel through time to avoid a time wave that will rewrite your history if you don't. There are some negatives about this game, but only three main problems in my opinion. For one, the artificial intelligence gets annoying, and babies the player way too much, her speeches being forced occasionally even in the more difficult adventure mode. Secondly, the saving system is difficult to use. Sometimes my files don't save at all, other times the list gets me confused and overwriting previous files. Lastly, the QuickTime events that were added during certain parts of the game are annoying to figure out, and remember, it leads to many shuttle crashes and submarine impacts. Despite those three negatives, I can also think of three reasons as to why this game is so great. First of all, the game is easy to pick up and play. The AI will help you significantly if allowed to, if being able to continue where you left off after death isn't enough. Second, Pegasus Prime is a refreshing take on the adventure genre, taking the player back to a time when graphics didn't matter when the gameplay was stellar. And as for the third reason to get this game, the music throughout is awesome. From a futuristic science center to your apartment, a military installation to lift music, Pegasus Prime offers a great soundtrack that's even available on CD. In conclusion, I recommend this game to any Journeyman Project fan or newcomers wanting to try a classic point-and-click experience. Pegasus Prime costs $10 over on goodoldgames.com, a great deal for such a joyful nostalgia trip or embarkment into the adventure genre.